And people don't know, but this is actually a pretty, like, the reason that quantum computers work. So if you ask someone like David Deutsch, who's a famous physicist who actually wrote something called the Deutsch equations, which are responsible for being able to make quantum computers. Quantum computers are a real thing. They work, they do what they do. And there's very complicated science behind them that we understand to some degree quite well. Why am I mentioning this? Well, quantum computers, and I'm mentioning David Deutsch because he's a serious, scientist who definitely understands the technical part of it. And according to him and many scientists like him, the only way the quantum computers can do what they do is if these world lines are real. Otherwise, it would never work. Because what they do is literally borrow computation from the parallel worlds. And it's almost like we're computing together. It's like in these parallel worlds that are adjacent to ours. And I do mean actually, like straight up, like you and me, there's another one like us that is just a little bit to the side of us in this hyperspace, in which you were not sitting like this, but maybe one finger was up, or something a little different, but not very different. And then the further you go, it becomes more and more and more different. There's like variation, right? But what happens, according to people like David Deutsch, what happens when you do a quantum compute is that you actually, the reason you can do these enormous calculations in an instance is because the calculation itself is being done across the worlds. So you're not the only one making that calculation. All of these parallel worlds with scientists with the same exact machine across the worlds are doing the same thing with you. And they know you're doing it too. And they're using special equations to kind of determine where we are on the map. So to some degree, do the thing you're asking about, which is like, which one are we in this whole thing? And what is the probability of that and all that? And that lateral computation across the world is what allows us to do this enormous calculation all at once. See what I'm saying? So to some degree, you can say that the only reason we can do quantum computation is because these worlds are completely real. And that is something that obviously is not always spoken about because it just kind of sounds like out there, but it's not a fringe crazy idea.